hearing is you've had a career that's kind of intertwined public and private experience. So I'm always curious as to what can the public sector learn from the private sector and vice versa. From your experience, what do you think are the things that each sector could teach the other?
I think there's an incredible lot, actually. And what's really lovely to see now, you know, I'm in a fortunate position. I work whilst I run a talent consultancy, I work within a headhunting firm, an executive search firm that is a really big player in the public sector. And so I very much see a lot more fluidity between the sectors now, I think. You know, I think in the old days, one was a lifer in the public sector or perhaps never ventured from the private into the public. And I do see a lot more cross-fertilization now, which I think can only be a good thing for both sectors to learn from each other, actually. You know, our public sector clients, when we're recruiting to senior roles, often ask us for you know, an injection of new commercial skills. They've often got a really big digital transformation agenda, and they're looking for experience leading sort of technological innovation. And often those skills come from the private sector or at least give a different perspective. So, you know, I would always be very cautious not to say that I think public sector leaders lack commerciality, because I've met some incredibly commercially astute public sector leaders. However, I think that different perspective is really important, because often colleagues that come from the private sector have had to deal with different commercial models, you know, whether that's commissioning or outsourcing or mergers and acquisitions, or some of those trends that we see happening in the public sector now. So I think those things can be really beneficial to the public sector. To flip the coin, though, I think what I see in absolute abundance in public sector leaders is what we would call social heart. You know, that real commitment to a cause. You know, and often some incredibly clever, astute, experienced leaders who've made a deliberate decision to stay in the public sector because they are committed to that cause, even though they could potentially earn more money or have, you know, different perks if they were to move across to the private sector. So I do think that sort of social conscious and that, you know, that real focus on outcomes and why things matter is something that the private sector can learn from their public sector counterparts. So
it's not just all about the money, it's about, well, how are you contributing and influencing the bigger community around you as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, I feel really fortunate. You know, my company vision or mission is that we find and develop leaders who shape a better society. And actually, I see that playing out every day when I'm working with senior leaders in the public sector. They and their teams are directly impacting us as citizens in, you know, out in our day-to-day lives, and that's an incredibly important thing to be doing. And we need the very best in leadership roles doing that.